We've had three major milestone developments in the last quarter. We consolidate the ownership with Provident Capital, which is very important for us going forward. We got our in-principle Panjim Pakai, which is our forestry permit, which is key for the permitting. And lastly, we put in place the management team for the execution at Tambang. Don Harper, our now COO, Chief Operating Officer, and Grant Harding, the General Manager of Projects. I've spoken about them and there's a lot in the public domain, but probably importantly just talking about the new resident manager, Pa Burden Omar. He's got 15 years experience in Indonesia, working for a major gold miner, so we've known him for 3 years, exhibits strong leadership skills, and importantly, because he's worked for Australian companies before, he really understands the culture and the nature of what we want to put in place. Lastly, but not least, Ali Ahmed. Ali is our Community Relations Environmental Manager, very important in Indonesia. Ali's got 15 plus years working for Rio. They put him through Flinders School of University in South Australia. He's got a master's degree, and that's really important, the ability to manage your environment and community relations. Yeah, it's been a good, I guess, 6 to 9 months for us. The share price has outperformed all our peers, which is obviously a tick of recommendation from our shareholders in the market, and that's good. The progress remains on schedule, and so we're learning to operate and in Indonesia, getting us through the permitting process, and that's good. So the granting of the principal permit, or Panjim Pakai as it's loosely translated, I guess it's the key permit for Indonesia. But it's important, I think, to just take a step back and understand how forestry sits in Indonesia. It's not well understood by the investing public. Indonesia has 70% of the land controlled by Forestry Department. Pretty much like in Australia, we have most of the rural land under pastoral leases. We'll be the first company to permit a new RUP PMA company, hard rock company. And because we're the first in the process, it's taken a bit longer. We've carried out a baseline survey which involves both our staff, our consultants, and the Minister, the Department of Forestry staff from both the Regency and the provincial government. That's enabled us to get all our documentation in place and allowed us to lodge the final documentation, and that should take about 45 days before the final forestry borrow and use permit, or Panjim Pakai, is approved. The other thing we've done is we've now employed a professional forestry advisor and a technical forestry officer that'll assist us in the rehabilitation process, which is pretty important going forward. The forestry permitting, I guess, is the biggest permit risk that exists out there for exploration companies going into production. So once this is in place, I think you'll see a major re-rating of the stock. It also demonstrates our ability to operate in country. We've done everything with our in-house team, which is significant, and I think going forward, it shows that we have a major competitive advantage in this critical area. Project financing is on schedule. I'm pretty happy with the debt finance process. We then need to obviously match that with an equity finance. We'll probably underwrite that, and the intention would be that as soon as the forestry permit comes through, we'll immediately lodge a short form prospectus, which we're required to under the ASX provisions, and raise the equity portion of the finance. So I'm expecting that process will complete mid the second quarter of this year. As long as the forestry permit comes in place, the overall project schedule will remain on schedule. March quarter really is to finalise the forestry permit and then draw down on the debt and equity to keep the project on schedule. So really it's just those two issues, the forestry permitting, the final permit, and the completion of the debt and equity financing. and at this stage I'm pretty confident that everything's on schedule.